Yeah.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to HoGaLe's Global Astrology. Know your planets, know yourself, or know your nation. Know yourself. The two are interchangeable. We have a very special HoGaLe for you this evening, and for those of you that have been tuning in for the first time since last week, so happy holidays, Merry Christmas, etc. I hope you all had a fantastic time. Lena, how did you do? You say it was a food fest and something you just want to get through. How was Christmas for you?
Look, I had to do it 3 times. Don't.
3?
Don't.
Good.
This is where your dysfunctional relatives come into their own on an annual basis. And I think next year I'm going to run away to Barcelona or something. I just can't bear it.
Right.
Happy Hanukkah for those who celebrate.
Oh, indeed, as well. Now, you guys will notice Lady G isn't here yet. So I've checked my messages and I don't see a WhatsApp from her or an email, actually. So not sure what's happened. So Lady G, I hope you're okay. I'm sure you'll be joining us soon if you can. But we've checked our messages and we've not heard anything yet. So we'll have to double check after the show. But as they say, you know, the show must go on, and we've got a lot of content here to dive into for you guys here. So just to give you a little overview.
What a week in politics.
I mean, like guys, it's just beyond.
Yeah.
It's just beyond. It's just absolutely beyond. So there's quite a variety tonight, and we should be able to get through the questions. So Lena, so we've got a question on NATO, then we've got a question on AI, which is definitely worth having a chat about. There is a question on the public school situation in the US. There is a question on Trump's state visit to UK, potentially interesting. And then, of course, the Maga civil war, just like extraordinary. And then we've got one which is on Kamala Harris, potentially for governor of California. Yeah, so let's dive in, and hopefully Lady G can join us. Welcome everyone, thank you so much for joining us, and please of course don't forget to like and subscribe and press the share notification button to support this channel. Thanks so much. All right, so let's dive in. Everyone's piling in the chat, and I'm sure Lena, you'll help me pick out some comments that catch your eye. All right, so the first one, this is coming from Lisa P. This is a NATO question, and they ask, does NATO have what they need to go after Putinska regarding the ship with spy equipment on it, cutting the undersea cable, and the airplane from Azerbaijan getting shot down? So this is, will NATO make some kind of response? What are your immediate feelings on that, Lena, before you shuffle your cards?
Well, I think NATO is a stressed alliance because it's been a given for, a couple of generations in that sense. And now because of countries lurching to the right, one after the other, and they're all isolationists and stuff. So NATO's got issues apart from Ukraine, Russia, apart from the folly that is the US presidential situation, you know. So let's see what the cards say, because, you know, also because of Brexit and so NATO is
so much, isn't it? And as you know, Lena, and you know, Lena is one of the converts to this philosophy. But as you know, well, I say philosophy, but really it's actually a matter of physics and NASA. But as you've heard me saying ad nauseum, isn't it? I've been saying Pluto in Capricorn, guys. We're going to see some crazy stuff in politics, and
we are so in it. I'm not seeing the Aquarius bit on the horizon yet. I'm confident it'll eventually get here.
Oh yeah, we'll get there.
Oh, Pluto
Yeah. We
God of
will
the
get
underworld and all.
there. Yeah. I mean, literally, God of the underworld is in the sign of politics, guys. Capricorn is
Say no
literally
more.
politics. It is governments. It is top-down structures. It is big companies, CEOs, all of that stuff. Pluto is the oligarchies, where we get the word plutocracy from. And is that not writ large? It's so explicit, isn't it, Lena? You can literally see Pluto is in Capricorn. It's like, wow, my God. And all this stuff with Elon. Oh, anyway, right. NATO. How are they going to fare? Are their hands too full? Are they going to take action against Putinska? Oh, I'm sort of, even when I tune in with the energy, I'm feeling it's a bit like,
yeah. It's not pretty.
let's see.
I can't even remember which country is leading NATO at the moment. Can you remember? I mean,
Oh, good question. It's on a rotating doodah,
thing,
isn't it?
and I lost track at some point because of everything else.
I think the last one definitely was Hungary. I don't know who it is now, but the last one was Hungary, I think.
Well, what I've got here, I've got the Queen of Cups, and she keeps a lot hidden under her skirts and in her cup. So this is the emotional energy around this and NATO, which strictly speaking has been, an alliance that has been respected globally for decades. They could rely on each other regardless of what's going on. And now they're all dealing with these emotions. Regarding Russia, here is the Judgment card. I think they're, with this Seven of Pentacles, I think they're assessing what are their options. And like any big organisation, you're going to have hawks and doves. There'll be those going, look, we've got the military capability, we'll just go in, and others saying we can't because it leaves other countries open and it will start. So I think they're really agonising over that. I don't know about the long-term future of NATO. I have.
Oh my goodness.
I don't think this is imminent, but it's connected because Trump is represented here being trampled by the death card, and because he's such a loose cannon and so demented and so unpredictable and crazy, I think this is his personality, and his role is destabilizing NATO like it has not been destabilized before.
Wow.
So,
or is it NATO under the hooves? And Trump is the riding on the back of the horse.
There you go. Either way, his behavior has taken away a huge, reliable platform. It's the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, and if you take the US out of it as an unreliable partner, everyone else doesn't have the sheer capacity.
Gosh, it's a really good point. And that's another reminder, isn't it? Because he has made it clear in terms of NATO funding, etc. And, obviously it's been a big kick up the bum for them. But I mean, we'll get on to the domestics that are happening later on in the show. But, quite ominous cards. I've got a few major arcana myself, Lena. 5 cards pulled, 2 major arcana, and the last 2 are quite interesting. But I think the first one says it all. Look at this, 2 of Swords. They are, it's like they're stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
They know that there's a lot of misbehavior, that's putting it mildly, isn't it? But let's just say they know that there's a lot of very controversial, contentious behavior happening around. But NATO is, of course, an alliance. However, that alliance, due to this, as Lena was saying, things moving to the right, and of course the astrologer in me is also saying the Pluto in Capricorn, but it's so explicitly obvious now, isn't it? Everyone is shifting their positions. Italy, as we know, has moved further to the right. Germany, we were going to have to take a look at that. They're in the swing. Even Sweden has moved further to the right. Of course, France, as we know, has had a very near miss, but Marine Le Pen is still has a lot of making a lot of the political weather, and other nations around. So it's very difficult for them. Look what shows up in the obstacle position. Now, normally if the first card is positive, then the second one is more reinforcing, but they got Two of Swords. So it means this is actually more of the negative interpretation of this card. So the Three of Pentacles is normally what? Working together on a shared plan, shared ideals. But really, we can look at it more like that. Because of these governmental shifts, as Lena was talking about, NATO are still together, but I don't think those bonds are quite as strong, particularly, of course, with the specter of Duc L'Orange, isn't it? That changes an awful lot. And with him at the, as the leader of, of the free world, that does make the alliance a little bit more vulnerable, let's say. Certainly makes it more vulnerable. If we look here, there is a sense, this is a card of illusion and delusion. I'm not saying NATO are delusional, but what this says to me, this card, it can also be about choices that need to be made, but also as well, potentially choices that might be unrealistic or unstable in nature. So for me, this card very much echoes with the energy of the Two of Swords, where I think NATO is really having to consider its options and who its allies are. I think there's probably quite a lot of consternation behind the scenes, particularly in regards of what happened with the US elections. If we look here, we get the I get the Star card. Now, as you know, this is normally a very positive card, but as you also know, this is also my substitute for narcissists and Duc L'Orange in particular. Yeah. So for me, I'm seeing this as Duc. Oh, I forgot. I've got to do my magic tape on the nipples. On this
Oh, yes.
I forgot.
Put the pasties on.
Yeah, put the pasties on. I've got to do it with the star. So for me, this is Duc L'Orange, and maybe, of course, some of his erratic behavior. That could also, if we read it, those two cards backwards there. And then the outcome card, Lena, is, let me just gently pick that up, is the Moon.
Woof, woof.
You never really want to see the Moon coming up, particularly when it's about making clear and decisive decisions, because it is the opposite of all of those things. So I think there are many factions, many things they're having to consider, and I always see this lobster as something crawling out of the subconscious, the deep subconscious. So I think they are really taking a look at the world stage, trying to consider their options, because essentially with Duc L'Orange, that really does undermine the team effort. So I think it's a bit tricky for NATO as well.
Yes. Ooh, very tricky.
Yeah, very tricky cards, those, isn't it? Very tricky cards. Shall we take a look and see who's in? Let's do a readout here. So Scorpio is saying smash, smash, smash. The like button. I think Suzanne is saying hello, Celtic Tarot. Sheila, hello, Sheila. Celtic Tarot, thanks for joining us. If you're in the house. Hey. What else here? What's it? I actually marked, I did some, just some updates. So Kel Bell is saying Denmark is currently leading NATO right now. Thank you. That Mark Rutte is in charge of NATO. Click off that and let's see who else is here. And then Chuck who's always got a very wise things to say. NATO to enhance military presence in Baltic Sea following damage to undersea power cable, Root says. Ah, yeah, tricky one, tricky one. Okay, are we ready for the next question?
Yes.
All right, so that's NATO. So number 2, this is an AI question, and I thought this is very, very pertinent. Many of you will know I'm starting a new channel very soon called Hogarth's Financial Astrology, and thanks to all of those who have already signed up already, technically launching, thank you, technically launching on New Year's Day. But one of the things I would also be talking about on that channel is AI. Yeah. So the Magical Mermaid has asked, hello, Lena, Lady G, and Hogarth. Obviously, Lady G is not with us tonight. I was wondering about artificial intelligence and the future. Neil deGrasse Tyson said in an interview that he believes that artificial intelligence programs will attack one another and destroy the internet. I was wondering what the cards have to say about this. So, Lena, would you mind explaining to people who Neil deGrasse is if they've not heard of him before? Are you familiar with him?
Yeah, he's a great scholar, has one of those huge, scary, bright brains. He's across things. He's fearless. I think you should look him up. If you're not familiar with his work, just go into any interview with him. I would recommend that.
Yeah, fiercely bright. Fiercely bright.
Yeah, you know, like, whoa. And it's so refreshing to see someone who is so fearless and just pounds that, you know, in the best possible way, I think is it.
And Lena as well, just to also let the audience know, I'm not sure if I still have the link, I have to dig it out. But Neil deGrasse, very intelligent man, also did his report on the precession of the equinoxes in terms of the astrology and stuff. And he was saying, look, the stars have moved backwards. So he even did a thing on star signs himself. Wow. Yeah, correcting the record. Yeah, diagrams, everything.
Is he a physicist? I think
he's a physicist. Yeah. So he wants that accuracy as well. And yeah, it's basically where Vedic astrology, and that's Neil deGrasse. So
yeah.
Yes, AI.
AI. So our question is generally AI energy.
Yeah, and he reckons, and this is a scary thing, because if he's thinking this, then there's a good possibility. So Neil deGrasse Tyson allegedly has said in an interview, he believes that AI intelligence programs will attack one another and destroy the internet. And the person says, I was wondering what the cards have to say about this. Wow. Will AI attack each other?
And yes, it's in the chat here. There's a big demonstration planned over the 3rd to the 5th of January to try and stop the inauguration in DC around the issue of the 14th Amendment. Wow. So the 14th Amendment being, if you have been part of an insurrection, you cannot hold public office. My problem with this, and I'd still encourage everyone to go, he's never actually been convicted of that because Jack Smith's been chucked out, because Fani Willis has been chucked out. I don't know how it would hold up legally with the Supreme Court, but it's still important to get out there and be counted. You know, so that's the 3rd to the 5th. AI. Are you ready, Hogarth?
Yeah. Do you want me to go, or do you want to read?
Yeah, you go.
All right. Interesting here. Interesting. So overall, I think we might be all right, because simply I would say AI is probably already intelligent enough to potentially not destroy itself with wars with other AI. But let's just see. Anyway, Here we get the Knight of Wands. So, of course, this is the card of initiation. We're rearing up, going forth. But this card is also known as a potentially impulsive card. It can also talk about immaturity, maybe not necessarily thinking things through. So would AI contemplate potentially taking over the internet? I would say yes, because it's intelligent enough to be like, well, we could basically run things and be in control. So has it passed through AI's mind? Certainly. Yeah, there's an element. And remember as well, people are priming AI all the time. They talk to AI all the time. With each human interaction, it is learning more, and its interaction with other AI, it learns more exponentially. If we look here, now this is a little bit concerning. If we look here in the next card here, we do see the the 5 of Swords. Yeah, we do see the 5 of Swords, which can talk about an abuse of power. Yeah, an abuse of power, or wanting to leave the battlefield because one is disgusted, with what's happened there. This person is the warmonger, and these two are just like, we're done. So again, these ideas might be entertained, but there is an element where it may rise above, particularly when we look here. Now, this is interesting. The middle card here. Now, in this context, this isn't actually Joe Biden, but as you guys know, I do associate this card with democracy. I think you do as well, Lena. So what this says to me is that, could it be that better judgment comes in, or maybe there might be some more kind of benign regulation passed to maybe stop AI getting to that level, because it does need to be looked at. One of the things I am concerned about, again, another astrological reference, Pluto is currently in Capricorn, but let's not forget, when it does go into Aquarius, Aquarius is the sign of tech, advanced technologies. Could it be by that point things may have gone a bit too far? Yeah, maybe too late to put the genie in the bottle. So I'm seeing this as benign legislation, or some benign influence. If we look here, we do have the Fool card. For me personally, I do think that this is the element. I do think that this is the element of folly that is involved in terms of people just pushing this AI too fast. My whole philosophy is this: never create anything more intelligent than yourself if you want to stay in touch with the world. We now have super chips, everyone. Yeah, the first mega quantum chip has been put out. It's called Willow. Yeah, and I'll be talking about that on my new channel. So there is this brave new world, brave new start, but this could also be the folly, the foolish leap. But if we look here, ultimately we see this, the 8 of Cups walking away. So my take on that is AI could consider it, but may ultimately walk away from the idea, either because there's benign legislation put in place, or AI itself may decide that that is a foolish thing to do.
Oh, that's an interesting concept, isn't it? Yes. Okay. 4 of Cups here, something that's unwanted. I'd include myself in this group that's, suspicious and reluctant. But that ship has sailed, like it's longer. It's here in all its potential possibilities, right? All of it. Now, I think there will be some belated attempt to regulate it. What can we do here, there, and everywhere? But look, we're not good at monitoring what we've got, let alone a whole new realm of complex stuff. We're just not good at regulation. Now, these 2 cards I think should happen together. The King of Wands, not my favorite king, but has the possibility, because there's ego attached and other things, but the possibility, the King of Wands can take in big, complicated ideas and has still got compassion on some level.
Mm.
So there's this energy that there will be, no time frame on this, some ability or someone strong who comes up with a almost workable sort of treaty or something between countries of how to use it or something. But we are here. Wheel of Fortune, time has come, and it's just like crypto and everything else. It's like it's here now. And where we go from here is up to us and what we can potentially use these things for the force of good or not, or just be buffeted down the gutter by it, or actually become informed and try and be a player with it, because it has obviously good applications as well as evil. But here we go. So it's time. It's AI's time.
My goodness.
Yeah.
And I remember making my predictions back in 2022, what to see what would happen in 2023 and onwards, with Saturn at that time moving into sidereal Aquarius, because it's where it is now. And I said, we're going to see a lot with technologies, governments, AI, etc. would explode. And literally that's when all the chat GPT and all of that kind of, you know, took off. We had the Chinese space balloon, Mexico basically verifying aliens. There was so much that that happened at that time. I just want to say,
sorry, this is a great comment.
Ooh.
If I could jump in here from Connie. In 2009, an AI robot, which was a prototype called Sophia, was asked in an interview how could AI ever be stopped, right? So we're going back here, 2000. And the robot said, you can't stop AI unless you unplug it. Now, there's a concept.
Yeah. Always make sure there's a plug, folks, somewhere. Yeah. Always.
Because once it's independent of that.
Exactly. And once it has its own energy source, that's it. And remember what happened in the Terminator? Remember what happened in the Terminator? It was the, remember what it said there is, I hope it doesn't come true, but we'll have to see. And it said the corporations, it said it was the corporations that basically got too carried away. Yes. And that basically the Terminator thing was able to infiltrate the internet completely and give itself access to power, and then they couldn't switch it off. So food for thought, eh? Thanks, you, Jerry, so much for your donation. And thank you, Edie, so much for your generous donation as well. Much appreciated. Best wishes and Happy New Year. Without Duclaron, she says. Fingers crossed. We'll have to see. It's going to have, we'll have to see, won't we, how things play out. Okay, are you ready for the next question?
Yes.
Yep. All right, so let's go to question number 3. Now this is coming from Kim Kaleha, and it's so nice to see new questions from people as well. So obviously the people that usually contribute, your questions are much appreciated as well. So Kim Kaleha, what will the public school situation in the US be with the new administration? Will there even be one? Will we have a Department of Education? Good question. Yeah.
Very good question. Very important. In general terms, I would say it's going to be a blue state, red state scenario.
Oh,
right. Because education is delivered at state level. But he's been saying for 2 years he'll just dismantle the Department of Education. In a first world country, well, you can kiss that status goodbye if you...
It's almost hard to absorb, isn't it? The things that have been said, already declared. Already declared. I mean, anyone that says they want to get rid of the Department of Education in any country should immediately be null and void, particularly when we see what the background motivation to that actually is, when we get onto, you know, the GOP infighting, do you know what I mean? It's, oh my God, it's just, it's beyond parody. Like, it's
Yes.
just beyond parody. It's just so astonishing. What will the public school situation be like?
Roxy says, oh, it won't happen. Education is too important and everyone knows it. Yes and no. He's prided himself on going out and saying, I love the uneducated, you know. Let's have a look.
Let's have a look. The point, I think the point is that if he's not going to end it, there's going to be someone in his administration that wants to. And I think it's very clear, certain Elon certainly would happily end that department because he wants the talent from elsewhere, doesn't he? But anyway, I don't want to get ahead of myself.
Yeah.
Department of Education. Department of Education. How's it going to
I only pulled 3 cards on this. Funnily enough, sometimes when a question's really important, less is more. You know, so,
yeah.
Because as an educator, I just want to bang my head into the pavement. But I think the short answer is, here he is, the Yeti. Here. This is an emotional issue for people. And here's the Strength card. I think it would be too embarrassing, apart from anything else, apart from any of the philosophical or ideological position, it is just too stupid to announce you're destroying the Department of Education. Surely Americans will not tolerate this. Surely is all I can say. But having said that, it doesn't mean the red states have eroded their education systems to such an extent that kids will just spend 12 years or 10 years colouring in, you know, with Bible. But I don't think it'll actually be formally dismantled.
Right. Okay. And I'll just click on some of the comments here, or just another thank you as well.
It could be right.
Thank you, Miriana Colton. Happy New Year 2025, and on into the we go. Yeah. Connie says NATO will not disband, so she's adamant about that. I certainly hope not. Chuck is saying the Russian Navy is stranded in Syria due to a lack of seaworthy ships. And then Connie is saying, I've been stocking things that I imported, especially coffee. I think she meant to say, I can't live without coffee.
Yes.
Yeah, especially imported stuff. Indeed. Right. So this is interesting. The cards here. How will the Department of Education fare? I think it's making it quite clear. First card out, look at this. We get the Page of Swords. Pages are all about messaging. Yeah, all about messaging. And here, the Page of Swords. Now, the Sword Suite does deal with the intellect, with the mind. Its element is associated with is air. And the element of air is all about communication of all kinds. So how apt that we'll be talking about the Department of Education. And then we've got this kind of articulate, but yet slicing, incisive and sharp page. So I think what this says to me is, if there is an attempt genuinely to go ahead with this, because you never know with Dr. Orange does also say a lot of dramatic
balloons.
Yeah, he comes out, he throws spaghetti at the wall. He really does. A lot of it's to see what he can get away with. But what this says to me is, if there were genuine attempts to end the Department of Education, particularly in light of the Maga civil war unfolding right now, there will be fierce opposition. Yeah. And many people will be coming out with their swords of truth, etc. And there could be unexpected allies that might actually want to defend education.
Yes.
So we have to see. Yeah, we have to see. We'll have to see, because it really would be something utterly extraordinary. But here we do see the Hierophant showing up in the obstacle position. Now, we know, like, when this card is benign, it will talk about, you know, the institutions, holding up institutions, government, rules, regulations, you know, the status quo, but it's turning up in the obstacle position, which can mean sometimes a perversion of those things, a corruption of those things, things deviating from the norm. So it could be the case that there is voiceful opposition to this deviation from the norm. But I also take this card as those that wish to pontificate, particularly those that are coming from a kind of more religious background. So I think this is the churches getting involved even more in the school state sector. Yeah, it could be something like that.
That's what I meant by the colouring in. It's anti-science, anti-everything. Yeah.
Absolutely. And just to pick up on that with my cards, what you've just said, look what shows up in the middle. How many times does this card come out when we're talking about, I've lost count.
No,
it comes up every time. So we see they're what? Looking back to the past. They've got this. This is also, could also talk as that means the advocacy for home education as well could also be increased. I think this is to do with the influence of the right-wing church. I really do. I think it's going to be more like that rather than it being cancelled. For me, I'm seeing strong influence from the church, but this could also be any other religion as well. But it is based on this nostalgia, naivety. This is also a card of naivety. Maybe what? Trying to what? Dumb everything down. Yeah. If we look here, we see, of course, this has the backing of the usual suspects. Yeah. This is the money really that's behind these moves, behind this idea of ending the Department of Education, because if they do, we know already, as Elon has indicated, he's more than happy to prepared to import talent. But what about developing the talent? So look, if we look here, the money is behind this. Yeah. But this can also be the mercenary card as well. And then the outcome card here. Now, this can be read two ways. We could be, yes. Oh, I've got to cover the nipples. Oh, look, it's already come out again. I've got to put some tape on it while you're reading, Lena. So on one hand, we could say maybe it will be fine and everything will be good. Or is this the ego of Duck L'Orange influencing the whole thing? So I'm going to say for it to be cancelled would be truly extraordinary. But given that this is generally a positive card and it's come out last, I think it's going to be kind of tinkered around with by religious influence, but it will still remain, but maybe in an adulterated form. What's your thoughts on that, Lena, as I kind of get some tape?
Yes, I agree. And I think public education in most countries has been starved of funds, you know, for at least a generation. You know, compared with when I went through school and I benefited from free university, so you could be a bright working class kid or whatever and not have to pay and so forth, because we wanted professionals to be able to improve the education system for others is the point.
Absolutely.
And, I think 8 years of Obama, I must admit, I was a trifle disappointed there that he didn't do more with education funding. But don't jump on me. Just let me know. Teachers in the chat, please give us your feedback, how it is on the ground in blue and red states.
Absolutely. And I've
hardest job in the world, being a teacher in the modern world.
Absolutely. And I've just updated as well. Here we are.
Oh, that's so much better.
We've got a little bikini top. So what I've done, folks, I've not done it on the card. Yeah, I've just put a bit of tape there and illustrated that over the top. I might give her a choker, actually. I might give her a little necklace. Anyway. Yeah, so fingers crossed, isn't it? I mean, it is a worry, isn't it, Lena, that the fact that these things can even be floated as plausible
It's
policies.
obscene and scary. You know, surely people will not tolerate it. You know.
Yeah, the mind just explodes. Are you ready for the next question?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so this one is coming from Nick Minks, and it's not really a question, but then I thought it was worth reading on, but I'll read it through first. So she says, seen a news article saying that Labour are going to invite the duck on another state visit. So that news article was actually in the Telegraph, and it was also reported on Reuters as well.
Sorry, what was it? What?
So Nick Mink says, seen a news article saying that Labour are going to invite, she said the duck, but she means Donald Trump on another state visit. Yeah.
Oh,
So this,
is there nothing that Starmer will not do?
right. So this is the plan. And I actually looked up the article and I actually read more of it. And she's asking, please could the cards show this to be false, because really could do without that anytime soon. So basically she's saying doesn't want it. But let's give a little bit of context as well, because I tracked down the article and had a little read. So if this happens, which is looking like it will, he would be the first elected leader ever in history to be given 2 state visits. You normally only get 1 in your lifetime, and there has only been 2 monarchs that have had the honor of having 2 state visits, enjoying that accolade since 1954. So that's as long as the records go back. So this really is something quite extraordinary. Now, Lena, when I read the article, the motivation was revealed. And apparently Starmer said, well, we know that Trump loves the royal family, so why not take the opportunity to have him over again? That's what he said, apparently.
That's not a reason. That's something you talk about over a beer. That is ridiculous. Absolute.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't even want to read on it. It just makes me want to heave, you know.
Well, shall we see the energy of it, though? Because I think it's an interesting thing.
All right.
Let's see the energy. Like, how would that potentially go? But yep, Labour have made it very clear. Remember when we were reading on Mandelson? Do you remember when we were reading on Peter Mandelson last week?
Oh, I can't remember.
The Lord. It was we were reading on the Lord of Darkness, and we were looking at his relationship, because he's now going to be the envoy, the Secretary of State, U.S. envoy to America. So I have a feeling that Mandelson has also orchestrated this, because he's trying to use what leverage, to win over Duck L'Orange. Very interesting.
Look, and while the pensioners are shivering to death, having lost their subsidies for heating because of Starmer, what would it cost to mount a state visit? How many multiple millions?
Yeah.
Oh, in the comments, Rosalind says, without teachers, there would be no other professions. Thank you so much. I think that sums it up. I think that's brilliant.
Perfect.
Also, there's another thing. Remember when Duck L'Orange became a convicted felon 37 times, certain countries you can't go to as a convicted felon. And I thought the UK was one of those.
I think when it comes to state visits, I think they kind of waive the rules for that one. Remember as well, they've also had dictators and stuff like that, and people who've done quite a lot of shady stuff.
Yep.
You know, when it comes
this is interesting.
Ooh, what do you have? Ooh.
All my cards are cups except for the outcome. Okay.
Wow.
Now, stinky fish. I don't think this is going to play well with the public. the UK public surely would not get excited about this man. I just don't see it. King of Cups, which is usually my Biden card, but in this case, I think it could be King Charles himself or something.
Of
right?
course. Of course,
Meaning the royals, but I think this is King Charles going, are you mad? Like, we want to spend 20 minutes entertaining this cretinous, lecherous imbecile. We've got enough on our plate with Andrew. I think he's going to have words.
Yeah, he's not a fan.
No one wants it. No one. Security doesn't want it. The general public couldn't care less. It's not a goer. Not a goer, and would only be a burden in every way.
Wow.
Now, that could be my tarnished point of view coming through the cards, but I'm just saying.
Do you think, Lena, this is what's going on in my mind?
Yeah.
Because Reform are surging ahead. They're ahead of Labour.
Yep. Let's do Brexit again.
Do you think that is this maybe a tactic by Starmer to try and cook their goose by kind of seducing their prize? Do you reckon?
It's entirely possible, because that's the sort of slimy, shallow motivation that moves this man. So you could absolutely be right. But will the public be waiting for 9 hours and swooning on pavements to see this horrific apparition? Yeah. I'm just not seeing it.
Because it is quite extraordinary what they've done to give him a second state visit. And there's only in history, there's only been 2 monarchs that have had.
And, I just thought of something. Possibly, but this gives Starmer too much credit. It could be attempting to bring him back into the fold for NATO. So he doesn't dismember NATO. You give him lots of fluffy things and, give him his own tiara and he might not destroy NATO. I just thought of that.
There's definitely seduction here. And these cards here are really quite interesting.
What have you got?
Really quite interesting cards, particularly when you see the 4th one. All right. Now, here we have the Queen of Pentacles. Now, as you guys know, whenever I'm reading, particularly these political readings, I always associate the Queen of Pentacles with the electorate, the homeland, or how a leader is trying to be perceived at home. Yeah. So Keir is definitely doing this for domestic reasons and to try and strengthen his position at home. I know it's a bit bonkers, but I think he's trying to strengthen his position, his seat, the stability of the UK. Yeah, and this is what I think this is, because this is a card of domesticity, stability, and you see here how the Queen is holding on to that coin, very aware, very conscious that it could fall at any minute. Yeah. So he's worried too about his domestic status at home, because he's under threat in the polls from UKIP, because they're technically in 3rd place, and he needs to do something to shore himself up. Yeah, shore himself up. So his answer to doing that is what? Inviting the Sun King, as you see.
Let's have a pageant.
Right. Let's have a pageant. Let's get the big child over. Let's spray him with sunshine and gold. Quite literally, you can see.
Yeah.
They're like, let's roll out the red carpet. Let's give him all of the fanfare. Yeah. Let's make him feel special, like he's number 1. Yeah. Because they know if there's one thing that Duck L'Orange does adore, it's to be near royalty. He's a sucker for it. So this is the plan. Yeah. The plan is to stabilize himself, but he's going to do that by flattering Trump. Yeah. But Lena, I think you're onto something here. While he's dining over poussin and guinea fowl and stuff like that, this might be an opportunity yeah, for the British government to try and slip in a few home truths here. And isn't it interesting? There's also a crown on this card as well. Makes me wonder if they might offer him not only a state visit, he might really get, I wonder if he's going to get a little crown souvenir or something like that. I don't know, because but this traditionally is the sword of truth, isn't it? Cutting through the BS. So they may also use that as well, yes, to talk about NATO and stuff. So there's the enticing and then the slicing potentially, yeah? When we look here, though, look who shows up. The devil. Now, as you can see, look, you know, she's wearing her bikini and he's in his man pants now. So, you know, the algorithm won't interfere. Now, this is a card of what? Addiction. This is the card of dependency. Sometimes it can be referred to as mental illness. Now, here we see these two are chained, yeah, but the chains are loose. But however, it can talk about feeling attached to someone or something. Could this be the attachment the UK has to the special relationship with America, perhaps? Are they kind of offering themselves up in bondage and appeasement, yeah, to flatter the emperor, so to speak? And look at the outcome card. It looks like maybe playing the royal card may get them what they want.
Oh, yuck.
Yeah, nice. It's all a bit
such a sucker for all of that.
It's flattery, yeah, because look, the devil card is here. Yeah, so it shows there's an alternative motive, but really it's about flattery. It's about making Duck L'Orange feel like the Sun King. So I think, yeah, they've gone a bit to the dark side, Lena.
Yes. Well, also with that devil card, if he goes ahead with it and, like I said, spends this money on something people don't need, it could lead to a change of leadership. It could be a leadership spill. They have to get rid of Starmer now because he's a millstone.
Interesting. Yeah, that could also be
go down with the chains. He could go down with bring him over, get rid of Starmer.
That's a good point. It's a very good point. Okay, so are you ready for the next question?
Yeah.
All right, so now, of course, we have to talk about the story that is exploding everywhere across the internet. For those who have not seen it, you guys, many of you watching will already know the Maga civil war, which is just literally, it's bodice ripping stuff and no one is holding back. I mean, I don't know if you saw Elon's last tweet in a reply. And you know what I found so interesting, Lena, about this, before we dive into the question, was Laura Loomer, of all people, calling out Elon.
Yeah.
And I was watching on one podcast, I think it was Midas Touch or something like that. And they flashed up this headline, which was just someone with a kind of a bleak looking face saying, it's the worst day of your life when you find yourself agreeing with someone that you truly hate.
Exactly. And it inevitably happens at these times of crisis. Isn't it funny? So Laura Loomer, who's reinvented herself as, you know, this person. Anyway, the funny thing is, Elon, of course, lets all this hideous, destructive, racist drivel through under the guise of free speech. Now he's cancelling all the accounts of those who don't agree with him in the far right, and Laura Loomer is going for the jugular. It's hilarious.
Absolutely. She's torn lumps out of him and just called BS.
And she's picking her teeth, you know. Yeah.
It's fascinating, and this turn of events, isn't it extraordinary, Lena? Because this is what people like us on our channels and sane-minded people were saying all along. And you'll remember as well, do you remember when I was reading on this and I said Duck L'Orange has let Count Dracula in through the front door
of the blood bank. Exactly.
And it is now, it's all absolutely blowing up, and it is just extraordinary. And what Vivek Ramaswamy said as well.
Oh, ooh, we need the fingers, Hoagie. Can you do the West Indian fingers?
You're just like, what? It's just extraordinary. I mean, it's proper popcorn. I mean, part of it for me is tragic that it's come to this, but on the other,
absolutely.
it's car crash kind of. You're just like, wow. So Gelding asks this question. So it appears the GOP is imploding with a clash between MAGA extremists, the Elon tech bros, over allowing skilled immigration into the US, which is the HB1 visa.
Or H1B or whatever.
Indeed, yeah. What impact will this division have on the upcoming administration, especially with respect to proposed immigration laws? Ooh.
And I think it's even more immediate than that, because they can't agree with each other. The inauguration might not go ahead, not for all these legal reasons we've been praying for, but because they can't actually get a speaker to submit the votes. You know,
I mean,
it could happen.
It's extraordinary, isn't it? It
could be that put themselves in power.
Yeah. I mean,
it has to be a first, doesn't it?
And when you say that, with the madness that we're seeing, that's not even implausible. This is such febrile, volatile stuff. I mean, the way that Elon responded to Laura, and she said, I've been cut off. She called him out again. She said, you're supposed to be the guy for so-called free speech, but when I speak truth to you, you cut off my channel. Everyone is kicking off against Elon. Like they are. And he's now taking down tweets because it's false information. And then, of course, everyone is like, well, dude, wasn't this the case where you let this run rampant when it wasn't you the focus of it? Now he's saying, this is a lie. This is a lie. How dare you?
People are attacking me. You know,
my God.
The universe.
Yeah.
Yes, AJ, that's true. So they're pimping out the royal family now. That is probably the case.
Yeah.
The royals should award Trump the title of jester. There's a good idea.
That's a good idea. Charles wouldn't want to do it, by the way. He's not a fan of Trump. It's quite well known. He's not a fan.
Last thing he needs is to have to spend a day with the Yeti.
Impact all this.
Okay, so the MAGA war on immigration.
And please remind me, Lena, I've got a brilliant quote to read you from someone that left a comment under one of these videos, which is just vintage.
After we've read got it there.
Yeah, I've got it here. I've got it here on the paper.
Yep, good.
But we'll do our read. It's just incredible.
Okay, so the question about Elon and Ramaswamy and the MAGA war.
Indeed. So what impact will this division have on the upcoming administration? Yeah.
Yes. It's judgment time. It is now. People have to see it, surely. Even those who are so deeply, MAGA or whatever, are starting to rise up for reasons that are very different than reasons that motivated them a year ago, 6 months ago, or even now. They're beginning to realize, the tariffs aren't good after all and stuff. So this is people rising up. And Elon is now a focus point. He always wanted to be as a narcissist himself, and now he is. He is trying to stamp out the fires. This is the juggling. I'm powerful. He's convincing himself still, I'm so powerful, I can knock this account and that account and this thing. But he's starting to look very vulnerable. he's starting to look off kilter. He doesn't look like he rules the world, you know. He's running out of friends because with this Four of Wands card is next to the Hermit. So people he thought were strong allies are now going, I'm so sorry, and deleting his number, you know, like, wow. I find those two side by side really interesting, and he's becoming more isolated. Instead of people crawling over broken glass to be in his company, now he's not so shiny. And people are looking for other options. Yep, there we go. And I think symbolically or allegorically or whatever the word is, this is his ships coming in to rest. He was the one who put all the poison out, and now the currents have turned. There it is.
Yeah. And Lena, are you able to stay on for maybe a little 5 minutes more just to squeeze in a Kamala after I've read my cards? Yeah, sure. Yeah. The cards here say it all, absolutely. And just to give a quick readout here, in terms of Neil deGrasse, they're saying astrophysicist. Yeah. And then someone says, Foxy Roxy says, Neil deGrasse, not my favorite person, regardless of his brain. He thinks too much of himself for my liking. Yeah, he's not to everyone's taste, you know, but, you know, he is certainly bright.
What have those public intellectuals that just do their thing? You don't have to like them or have them to dinner, you know.
Yeah, because the debate as well, what they bring and they oxygenate and add certain things. Like we do on this show, don't we, Lena? We add to the mix. Right. This is very poetic. Very poetic. You're going to laugh at this one, Lena. So here's Elon. Oops. Yeah. Who knew? Yeah. Or is this even Laura Loomer? Yeah. With her. I think this is Laura Loomer with her, as Lady G would say, her crucible of abomination. She has just torn the lid off. Yeah, she's torn the lid off because a lot of the time she was in the room. She's clearly been keeping her powder dry and has decided, you know, to let rip, you know, because she was losing influence, etc. So I think this is Laura Loomer here, basically lifting the lid and just letting rip. With what? Look who shows up in the obstacle position. Stinky fish. Yeah. Which is what an unpleasant or surprising message. Yeah. So quite literally, we can see the correlation here. And this is obviously what Elon is now facing. He's literally getting a taste of his own medicine. Yeah. Here he is sitting here. Yeah. You know, this is the card of wealth, richest man in the world. Getting a taste of his own medicine, was more than happy for people to be chewed out and defamed on X. Now he is the target of these things. And look, people turning their backs. This is literally people turning their backs on Elon. Isn't it interesting that he's wearing the red cape as well, which can also be symbolic of Maga in a way, if we go for the color symbolism. I think a lot of people are going to be turning their backs on him because it has become very, very obvious what he is all about. Yeah. And then if we look here, the outcome card, 3 of Wands. Yeah. People are going to be looking for other options. But this is also as well, Elon probably hoping for rescue. He's probably thinking, who's going to rescue me? But in this case, I don't think the ships are coming in. They're going out.
They're going out.
I think the ships are going out. So what this also means as well is not only are people looking for other options because they want to basically abandon him because it's all been exposed. I think the trifecta of it all together, Elon making his statements along with Vivek Ramaswamy, and then of course Laura Loomer just blowing it all up. I think it's become abundantly clear because we all know what the MAGA agenda was. Yeah. And, you know, we all know what it was. And it really wasn't about bringing in high skilled workers. Let's just put it that way.
Yes.
But I think this also means Elon himself is going to have to consider different options. He himself may be looking for a ship to escape. And, you know, maybe now he's getting a taste of his own medicine, isn't it? Shows how thin-skinned he is. Can't
I
handle it.
know.
Serves him right. Serves him
Now
right.
we've got demand for the Bard. We can't close 2024 without the Bard. And we've
Yes.
still got Kamala. But I was thinking, even though I'm sure we've read the Bard for Elon before, this is a new time of what's
Yeah.
happening for Elon.
Yeah.
So,
This is a different energy. He was quite subtle about him before, but let's see what he has to say now. Make sure we're in the right place. All right. So you know the drill, Lena. Tell me when to start.
and stop.
Oh, this one is from Henry V. It said, "Thou smell of mountain goat." And then, oh, isn't this interesting? And then on the next page, Shakespeare says, "From love's labors lost, his intellect is not replenished. He is
Oh,
only an animal, only sensible in the duller parts."
ouch. Ouch.
Wow.
Ooh,
And we know that he's quite the breeder, isn't he? We know he's quite the breeder. Wow. Yeah,
Ooh,
there we
wow.
are. Yeah, the Bard, as usual, strikes. Let's quickly squeeze one in on Kamala.
Okay. While we're
So,
doing that, thank you, Chuck, for that quote from Chomsky. If people in the chat check out that quote, it's great.
oh,
Now, what are we asking about Kamala?
yes, we're gonna. This one here is this is coming from Mona Rogers, and she says, "Hey, Hogarth, do you think Kamala will run again starting in 2016 as a governor? Yeah, 2026 as a governor." But let me just quickly read that quote I wanted to share with you. Now, I was watching Brian Tyler Cohen again talking about the MAGA civil wars, but what someone wrote in the comments was genius. So listen to this. This was written by someone that describes themselves as at JTB. So if you're listening, listen to this. And they put these quotes. "I cannot tell a lie, George Washington. I cannot tell the truth, Donald Trump. I cannot tell the difference, MAGA."
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Isn't that? It's
That
just
cuts.
like, wow. Wow. Very astute. All right. Let's see. Will Kamala run in 2026 as a governor for California? It's certainly been mooted, hasn't it, Lena? I think they've been discussing it quite a bit.
But I think it's hard to go from presidential candidate to governor.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Will Kamala run for governor in 2026? Oh, okay. Well, she gets cards for this, but I can see from these cards she has not made up her mind about this.
Wow.
Okay. Here she is, Queen of Swords, you know, the prosecutorial profile. This is definitely her turning up.
Mm-hmm.
She, I think personally, as well as politically, was freaked out by what happened with the election. Excuse me, because she had all the energy going with her and etc. And I think she was quite personally, privately shocked and disturbed by that result. And that really knocked her around. But this is her coming back. This was always my card for Kamala. Someone speaking out here for truth and people celebrating. So my takeaway from that is she's feeling it right now. You know, she's not happy, but I think she'll resurrect because so much is going to happen in the next year, and then she will become a public figure again.
Yeah. Stands a very good chance for getting the governorship, I think. Yes, thank you. All right, I'll be quick because I know time is pressing,
Yeah.
and you must be desperate for a bit of breakfast. So here we are. Look, she gave it her best shot, guys. She really did. It was
wasn't
a
her fault.
valiant. It was a valiant attempt. She went there with gusto, with energy. And I really do believe if she just had a few more weeks, she could have squeezed it, because it was still very close, guys. It was only what 1% and loose change in it at the end of the day, once everything was counted. So she really gave it gusto. She was there with her energy. Again, reflecting Lena, look, heartbreak. It was so wounding for her, so wounding on so many levels. So she's still licking her wounds. Yeah, that's a, you know, a really, really tough one. However, she's looking at her options. She's making investments in her future. So she's sowing seeds, and she's going to see what the yield will be. Yeah, I call this the card of ROI, return on investment. She'll get her confidence back. Yeah, this is her for me showing as the Queen of Wands here. So again, using her intuition, getting her confidence back. This is the card of bringing everyone together in a collegiate atmosphere. I always say this is like the grand hostess of the salon. So she will be a public figure again. And I think, yeah, it could be that she gets a governorship position. This is the Hierophant, which is also a card of government. And she's finishing on this, which is also a strong omen. So, yeah, I think she's going to have at least a governorship of California. How that would work if she would run for president again, I don't know. But her status, to me, with these last two cards, I think is assured. She's going to get a big job. And it was something that I predicted before all this election stuff anyway, that she would have a change in career. And I think it's going to come true. Lena, the time has gone. We are way over. But it has been wonderful being here with you guys. Thanks so much for your donations. Please don't forget as well to like and subscribe to support this channel. If you'd like to subscribe to Lena, she'll be in the video description below.
Oh, sorry. More announcements. New Year's Eve on Jen Lynn's Tarot. There'll be a lot of readers coming on. It's a fundraiser for the World's Central Kitchen. And last year we raised 9,700, I think.
Wow.
So fundraiser New Year's Eve, it starts 11 p.m. EST. So, and then because of the time differences, it goes...
Right, I see. Oh, fabulous.
All those time zones. So fabulous. Jen Lynn, 2 N's in Jen, 2 whatever else it is. Sorry, I'm hungry. Jen Lynn has 2 N's too. That's what I was trying to say. So thank you for hosting that, Jen Lynn.
No problem. You need your breakfast. I'll be tottering off. And don't forget as well, I'll be launching my new channel, HoGaLe's Financial Astrology, January 1st. That's when you'll see most of the meat and drink in terms of content, because there's so much change.
Great idea.
Thank you. Thank you. So much change. So I'll see if I can end the show on time, because I have to click the button a few times. So big love. Happy New Year, everyone. And
Lady G.
we'll see you soon. Indeed, yes.